Hi, this is Susan. Thanks for joining me today for Bone Strength. Today what I would like to encourage you to do is really to watch what comes up for you during your practice. Maybe you'll feel like you're not doing the pose correctly or you're not so sure of yourself. And just kind of watch those mental thoughts that do arise. If you do notice that's what's happening, see if you can, through your practice, find a little joy or find a little sense of ease and come back to noticing your breath today. All right? When we practice by ourselves at home, sometimes we do feel like we're unsure of how we're doing the pose, but just the fact that you're here, you're on your mat, is such a blessing for your body, your mind, and your soul. Remember today, nothing should feel painful. If something does for your body in that particular pose, please back out of it and honor where you are in the moment. All right, bring your hands to your heart center and take a full inhale in through your nose and exhale out your mouth. We'll take just a moment to connect in with our breath. Let go of the busyness from today. Really notice that internal rhythm of your own body through your breath. Gently opening your eyes. We're going to start our practice today with alternate nostril breathing. Really great balancing breath practice. I will not be mirroring you on this. So you're going to bring up your right hand, make a gentle fist, pull out your thumb, ring finger, and pinky. If your fingers splay or you find that hard, you can just place your pointer finger and middle finger at the space between your eyebrows and let your thumb close your right nostril and let your ring finger close your left nostril. But if you can, tuck these underneath. All right, so sitting up nice and tall, we'll just do a few rounds. Nice full inhale in through your nose and exhale. Closing your right nostril, inhale through your left. Close and hold. Exhale right. Inhale right. Close and hold. And exhale left. That was one round. Inhale left. Close and hold. And exhale right. Inhale right. Close and hold. Exhale left. Continue at your own pace. If you can comfortably do so, lengthen your inhale and lengthen your exhale. Next time you exhale out the left nostril, release the technique. Breathe normally out of both nostrils. Check in to notice if you feel any sense of calm or balance, or maybe just openness through your nasal passageways. Gently open your eyes. For this practice today, you may need a strap or a block or a chair or some prop if you getting down, coming forward is a little bit more difficult today due to hamstrings. So grab those props and meet me on your mat if you aren't already there. We're going to start today down on our mat. And we'll come into what we call constructive rest pose. Our knees are bent, feet are on the mat. Just let the upper torso settle. You might notice your back for a moment. Notice if it feels fairly flattened down, if you feel tension anywhere through the back of your torso. And take just a couple of breaths here to soften, to allow your shoulders to let go. Just allow your body to settle and feel grounded. And then we'll take our strap. We're going to start on the right side. I'm not going to mirror you because it wouldn't matter in this angle anyway. So I'm going to take the strap over the sole of my right foot. I'm going to bend my right knee, bringing it towards my torso, and then straighten my leg back up. Bend and straighten a few times. Just warming up our joints, warming up the back of the leg. And then we'll pause. Bring your leg as straight as you can. You might slide the strap back and forth across the sole of your foot, warming up your tissues, making your fascia a little more pliable. Your fascia is that superficial fascia is right underneath your skin layer. And then pause. Try to get your right leg as straight as you can. If it's comfortable for your body, straighten out your left leg. Now you can't see the toes of my left foot, but point your toes of your left foot straight towards the ceiling. Lift your gaze if you need to just double check and make sure your toes are where you think they are. Go ahead and release your shoulders away from your ears. If your left leg is long on the ground and that's comfortable for your back, really push out through the left heel. And then energetically lift through the right heel. Both right leg and left leg are dynamic. My muscles are engaged. When we can engage our muscles and have them pulling on the bone, it does help to send bone building messages to our body. Make sure you're breathing here fully in and out of your nose. And the stronger our muscles are, the stronger our bones are. Stay present with the pose. Try not to let your mind drift. Oftentimes when it does, we'll release any dynamic tension we might be holding. We'll take one more breath here. And then bring both straps into your right hand. So really important when we move into Supta Padangusthasana 2, we don't let the left side of our body roll over. So I'm going to very slowly let my right leg come out to the right. I'm going to continue to push and engage through that right heel, but I'm really going to think about the left side of my body. Can I push down through my left leg into the floor and away from my head, and let my left hip stay heavy, grounded, rooted to the floor. Notice your navel here. If it's not engaged through your abdominal area, pull your navel down, rotate it to the left, and let that left rib cage sit back down on the mat. Take several breaths here. See if you can find that balance by relaxing your jaw, softening your throat, softening the muscles of your face. And then we'll bring our leg back up. Take a nice full deep inhale. Go ahead and bring your left leg into the strap with your right leg. Pause for a moment and just notice any effects of your practice from the right side to the left side. Right side might feel a little more open, and then we'll bring our right leg down. If you need to, for your back comfort, you can always keep that right knee bent, right foot on the mat. But if it's possible, you're straightening out that right leg, toes towards the ceiling. So my right thigh is pushing down towards the floor. My right heel is pushing away from my head. and my left heel is lifting towards the ceiling. Toes on the left foot coming back more in the direction of my face. Notice right now if you are over-efforting. So how would you know that? If you're really pulling that left hip up towards your shoulder, you're going to make your hips uneven. So see if you can notice where your left hip is in relationship to your right. If it feels hiked up, you're going to push your left hip down towards the bottom of your mat where your right foot is. Notice the kneecap, the thigh on the left leg, it's engaged, the kneecap is lifting towards the mat. We'll stay for one more full breath here. Great pose for strengthening your legs, your hips, the bones of your hips. We'll take an inhale here. As we exhale again, you're going to very slowly move out to the left with the left leg. Notice what's happening through the right side of your body. My right side waist very engaged through the muscles there, pushing out through my right heel, lifting up through the crown of my head, but keeping my right hip, right rib cage rooted and grounded down. My navel this time is pulling in and rotating gently to the right. If it's comfortable, right arm can come out. Stay with the pose, stay with your breath. Notice what arises for you in this moment. We'll take one more full inhale here, make it nice and full. And then as you exhale, bring that leg back up and release the strap. Let your strap come down. And bring both knees up in towards your chest, gently rocking from side to side. I like to stretch long sometimes after that pose, so I'm going to stretch out both legs, right leg, left leg. Toes are pointing towards the ceiling. I'm going to inhale and really reach with my fingertips. As I exhale, I'm going to pull my navel down towards the floor, finding some length through the whole back of my body. And then exhale, gently bring right knee, left knee in towards your chest. Roll to your side, pause there. And then we'll come on up. So I like sometimes starting with Supta Padangusthasana in my practice because it does give me the ability to find some length through the back of my body for some of the standing poses. All right, we're going to start off in mountain pose today. What I'd like for you to do, I'm going to step forward so you can see my feet. Bring some awareness to your feet for a moment. Feet are hip distance or closer. Toes are pointing straight ahead. And I want you to lift all 10 toes for a moment. When you do, ask yourself, did your weight drop back into your heels or is it still evenly distributed between the balls of your feet and your heels? Make that adjustment if you need to. Keep your toes lifted if you can. You'll notice the muscles engaging with your toes lifted. You'll feel your arches possibly more. You'll feel your thighs start to engage a bit more. Kneecaps lifting up. And then I want you to try to spread your toes as wide as you can and gently set them down one toe at a time, creating space between your toes. Once you get all 10 toes down, ask yourself, did your weight rock forward? Did it rock to the outsides? Go ahead and even it back out. Notice the weight on the big toe mound of your foot. Press the soles of your feet evenly into the ground. Keep that engagement through your arches, through your thighs, and gently lift through the crown of your head. Soften your shoulders down. Pull your chin gently back, keeping it parallel with the floor. Nice and broad and wide through your collarbones. As we bring our posture more upright, it not only helps to facilitate better balance, but it also engages the muscles of our torso a bit more, and it facilitates an easier breath because we've created more space where our lungs are. So take a nice full inhale here and a full exhale out your mouth. All right, today we're going to start in Utkatasana chair pose to warm up our legs. So feet are hip distance or closer. They're parallel, our toes are pointing straight ahead. We're going to take an inhale, and as we exhale, sit back into your heels. Bring your arms up by your ears if you can. If any high blood pressure you're having today, hands come at your heart center. Should not be uncomfortable for your knees or your low back. If you're feeling anything in those areas, come out of the pose a little bit. See if that helps, or you can always come to the wall. Let your shoulders move down gently away from your ears. Make sure your breath is steady. This is a really invigorating pose, so keep breathing. Great for strengthening our hips, our legs. It also helps to keep strength through your knees. One more inhale. And exhale, push down, come back up, relax your shoulders down. All right, go ahead and face the short end of your mat. We're going to come into Warrior One pose. So we'll start by stepping our right foot back. From here, the toes on my right foot, my back foot are pointing up towards the top corner of my mat. I'm going to turn and rotate so that my hips are facing the short end of my mat. So my hips are facing straight ahead. Take an inhale, lift and lengthen up through the crown of your head. As you exhale, and push down through your right heel, and as you exhale, bend your left knee. Let your knee stop when it's directly over your ankle. Notice through that movement, did your right hip pull back? See if you can square your hips forward one more time. Take a lift from your pubic bone up through your navel. Again, pressing that right thigh back and right heel down. Bring your hands to your heart center for a moment. Take a lift through the crown of your head. When you feel ready, bring your arms up overhead. Breath is steady and smooth in and out of your nose. Great pose for strengthening our legs. It's also challenging your balance a little bit. Notice if you can feel more engagement through the muscles of your legs by pushing your feet away from each other. Notice if you can really activate your arms a little bit more by spreading your fingertips and your fingers wide, so there's space between each finger. And if it's comfortable on your body, you could always try gently lifting up through your sternum, creating a slight bit of a back bend. And then we'll bring our arms down by our side. We'll lift our back heel and step forward. Come back to mountain pose for a moment, pause. Come back to noticing your breath. And then we'll switch to the left side. Left foot is going to step back. Notice today, are you challenging yourself or are you letting yourself be a little more at ease? You would challenge yourself by stepping back further. Go ahead and take your left hip, pull it forward. Pause here, push down through your left heel, let your left thigh move back. Lift through the crown of your head. Exhale, bend into your right knee. Bring your hands to your heart center. Take a nice deep breath here, and when you're ready, coming into Warrior One, Virabhadrasana 1 on this side. Again, notice, are you hanging out in the pose? Are you still really engaging through the muscles? Push your feet gently away from each other. Feel that stability and engagement. Pull up through your pubic bone and find that lift. And gently reach with your fingertips. Take another inhale here. As we exhale, we're going to bring our arms down. We're going to lift our back heel, step up, and come back to mountain pose and pause here. Nice deep breath in and deep breath out. All right, we're going to turn to face the long side of our mat. Step your feet out wide. I'm going to be mirroring you on this, so we'll start on the right side. We're going to turn our right foot out 90 degrees. Left heel slides back slightly. Take an inhale, bring your arms out to a T. As you exhale, you're going to bend into your right knee and let it stack right over your ankle. Notice your arms here. You might look back at your back hand and over at your front hand. Soften your shoulders down and then reach. Can you find that engagement through your legs? So I'm gently pushing my feet away from each other, or you could pull your feet towards each other, towards the midline of your body and up through the crown of your head. You're in Warrior Two pose. Just feel that strength and stability through your legs. Feel how open your heart center is. And stay in the present moment by breathing and noticing your breath. Each breath as it moves in through your body, each breath as it moves back out. And take one more inhale here. As we exhale, we're going to straighten our arms, straighten our legs, pause. Keep your feet right where they are. Take a nice deep inhale. We're going to stay on this side. We're going to inhale and bring our arms out to a T. As we exhale, we're going to reach towards the right side. So notice my body right now is in a diagonal. Notice your left foot on the mat and notice your right fingertips. Try to make that a nice long line. Keep your head in line with your spine and then let that right arm come down. Roll that left shoulder blade onto your back. If you can get any further down, do so, but don't compromise the length through the right side of your torso. Bring your left hand up. Gaze at your top hand if it's comfortable for your neck. Keep your breath going. Notice if you're hanging in your joints, if you're really feeling this through the back of your right knee, put a slight bend in the back of that, put a slight bend in your right knee and you'll feel the muscles engage. Take another breath. And then we're going to bring that top arm down back to our waist. Take an inhale here. As you exhale, bend your right knee, bringing it over your ankle. We're setting ourselves up for side angle pose. You could have your right arm gently resting on your thigh, but don't put a lot of weight here. Allow your muscles of your torso to hold you. Left hand comes up, stay open and broad through your chest, or if it feels right on your body, you can bring your arm over. So my upper arm is more in line with my ear, reaching on a diagonal all the way up. Notice if you can relax that right shoulder. And what's happening with your breath. Breath is steady and smooth. As you stay in the pose for a moment, can you really maintain the muscle engagement? Take an inhale, push down, come all the way up. Turn your feet parallel, step your feet back together. Pause for a moment. Come back and slow down your breath. Gently open your eyes. We'll move to the other side. Right? So we're going to step our feet out wide. This time it's your left foot is turning out 90 degrees, right heel is sliding back. As you inhale, bring your arms out to a T, and as you exhale, bend into the front knee. Good. Find the stability here. Find the lift through the center line of your body, all the way up through the crown of your head. And again, if it's comfortable, looking out over that left hand. As you look out over your left hand, you might even gently gaze down to your left knee. Notice if it looks like it's tracking out your toes. So you want this thigh bone to track straight out your second and third toe. Let the thigh of the back leg push back into the hip socket and gently rotate down and inward. As your front left thigh is rotating open. Take another breath here. As you exhale, bring your arms down, pause, relax, soften your shoulders, straighten your front leg. Inhale and bring your arms out, and then reach to the left. Again, we're trying to create that diagonal line in our body from our back foot all the way up through the crown of our head. Notice if you're overarching your back here. If you are, try to let your tailbone move down towards your back heel to create some length through the back side, your low back area. And then we'll roll that right shoulder blade onto our back and bring our arm up. Triangle pose, Trikonasana, looking up. The lower half of my body very engaged. My legs are active. My kneecaps are pulling up. I'm grounding down evenly through the soles of my feet. Take a moment to notice, are you feeling weight more in one area of your foot than the other? And then in the upper half of my body, my top fingertips are really reaching as my bottom fingertips are reaching down. Top fingers reaching up, bottom fingers reaching down. Take 2 more breaths if you can. And then we'll bend that front knee, bring your top arm back to your waist. Pause here, bring your knee over your ankle. Create that long diagonal line. Really push out and down through the back foot and find length all the way up through the crown of your head. Again, this left arm can rest on your thigh, but don't let your whole torso weight be on that arm. Instead, keep it light. And then top arm comes up. Just notice for a moment what you need today. Maybe if your breath is short and shallow right now, you need to back out of the pose a bit. If you're feeling a little stronger, you might explore bringing your arm up over your overhead, more onto a diagonal. Upper arm in line with your ear. And then come back to those steady inhales and steady exhales. One more breath. And then we'll push down, come back up, turn your feet parallel, step your feet back together, come back into mountain pose, soften, and relax. All right, our wrists are our third most frequent place for fracture, and arm threading or arm twisting, what I call it, is one way that we can start to activate that bone building process in our arms. Loren Fishman feels that the twisting aspect of our arm bones is actually really beneficial for that. So we're going to bring our arms out in front. I will mirror you on this. You're going to take your right arm and cross it over your left. You're going to rotate your hands down so that the thumbs are facing the floor, palms facing each other. Clasp your fingers. Drop your arms down and relax your shoulders for a moment. Bend your elbows and bring your wrists up and through that gap. From here, you want to feel some sensation. You don't want it to be too painful. And if you're experiencing any carpal tunnel, I want you to back out of the pose and avoid this pose today. So 2 things that I do to help get a little more sensation for me, because I'm fairly open, is to let my elbows move away from each other. When I do that, my knuckles have a tendency to drop towards my torso. So to compensate for that, I'm going to pull my knuckles back up towards the ceiling a bit more. You can see it's a subtle movement. And when I do those 2 movements, I can find a little more engagement. Again, we're not trying to over effort, but come and breathe here. Keep your shoulders soft. Keep the back of your neck relaxed. And we'll stay for 2 more breaths. All right, go ahead and release. Wiggle out your wrists, your fingers, spread your fingers wide, arms out in front, and then this time we'll cross left arm over right, rotate down to the palms, clasp your palms, drop your hands down and interlace up and through. Relax your shoulders, relax through your neck, let your elbows go wide and fingertips go away from each other, or knuckles come up towards the ceiling. Good, deep breath in, deep breath out. Keep the engagement through your forearms, your wrists, but notice for a moment the weight in your feet. What's happening? Can you find that Tadasana stance while you're here, evenly distributing the weight through the soles of your feet and lifting gently through the crown of your head. And then relax and release, roll your wrists around. Go ahead and clasp your fingers and just do what I call a roly-poly, back in the other direction. Bring your hands to your heart center in prayer pose and take a full inhale here. Clasp your fingers, exhale out and away. Inhale up, exhale out and around. You're going to clasp your hands in the back if you can. Inhale, open and broaden. Exhale, back to center. Good. One more time like that. Inhale and exhale. Inhale up. Exhale out and around. Clasping and opening. Exhale back to center. All right. We're going to come into tree pose. I will mirror you. You're going to shift your weight over on to your left leg. You're going to bend your right knee and rotate open. The toes of that right foot could be on the ground, and if they are, I really want you to press down. Watch how I can press down and lift up and get tall. Right? If I'm here in kickstand, I'm going to periodically try lifting the toes up off the floor. Come into calf, foot on your calf, or even, maybe today, foot on your thigh. Again, stay grounded and rooted through your standing foot. Keep your gaze on something that's not moving. And to challenge yourself a bit more, today you might try lifting your gaze up. Notice your breath here. Notice as it flows in and out. Balance is really important when we have bone loss. Obviously, you don't want to fall. That's probably one of the biggest reasons for fracture. We'll take one more breath here. And exhale, step back down. Pause in mountain pose. Relax and soften. Ask yourself for a moment, did you over effort in that in trying to come into a fuller expression of the pose, meaning this? when this would have been just fine for you to practice your balance. Okay? So anytime our foot is actually off the floor fully, we are balancing on one foot. This is just requiring more hip and knee flexion. Right? So moving to the left side, the other side we will root down, bend your left knee, rotate open. Keep your hips facing forward here, and then find your version today of tree pose. We'll stay for one more breath. Stay present. Nice full inhale, lifting through the crown of your head. Get really tall here. And exhale, step back down. Shake out your legs. Let your arms relax. Roll your shoulders back. All right, we're going to come into side plank. Many variations for side plank that you can do today. And if you've got any sensitive wrists, you're going to come into regular plank pose or plank pose on the knees. So I'm going to come down to hands and knees, tabletop position to start with. I am going to make sure my wrist is underneath my shoulder. I'm going to start on the right side for me today, and you will as well. Straighten out your legs only if that is comfortable for you. I'm going to roll onto the edge of my right foot and stack my left foot on top. You also want to have your hips stacked one on top of the other. If this is too much, there's some variations that you can do. You could take that top leg and cross it over. Stay here, really find the length through the crown of your head all the way out your right foot, which is on the mat, and bring your left arm up. Breathe. If you can, you're going to stay in the fuller version. Again, noticing what's happening to your hips. Try to keep one hip stacked over the other. Push the floor away, engage the muscles through your arms. Take another inhale here. Bring that top arm back down, drop to your knees if you're not already there, and come into puppy pose. So my hips are going to stay fairly high here. Stretch your arms out in front if that works for your shoulders. And then keeping your hands right where they are, let your hips gently move maybe an inch towards your heels. Remembering an inch is not far. Another deep breath. And then we'll push back up to tabletop. Taking the time to really align our body, meaning our wrists underneath our shoulder here. I'll come into the pose on this side. If I can get to where you can see me. So on this side, in my particular body, I have a tendency to let my top hip roll back. So I have to really consciously bring this top hip forward enough till it is stacked over my bottom hip. Remember, you can always take your top leg and set that foot down in front of you to create more of a tripod, if that's easier. Really strengthening pose for us, so make sure you're breathing. This is a challenging pose. Reach with those top fingertips, push the floor away with your left hand. Lengthen through the crown of your head. Take 2 more breaths. And then we'll bring that top arm back down, knees to the mat. Deep inhale here and exhale. All the way back to puppy pose again. Maybe this time, instead of having your arms quite so energetic, you relax and pull your hands back slightly towards your hips and let your full forearm relax on the floor. Notice your breath here. All right, we're going to push up. I'm going to grab a blanket and come into Camel Pose. So I'm going to use a blanket for my knees. If you don't have a blanket, pause the video right now and grab one if that's better for you. All right, so in Camel Pose, we want to really open from the upper chest and upper back as opposed from so much from kind of dumping in our low back. So make sure your thighs are perpendicular to the floor. I'll turn so you can see what's happening in my hands. My fingertips are pointing down. This is helping me to remember to find and keep length through my low back area. I'm going to gently pull my elbows towards each other. Inhale, lift through my sternum, through my upper chest, and as I exhale, keeping my thighs right where they are, perpendicular, I'm going to open up gently. If it's comfortable for your neck, you can gently look up, letting your head drop back. If that creates any tension through the back of your neck, then drop your chin down towards your chest and look straight ahead. Keep breathing here. Take another inhale. Nice full inhale, another exhale. As you inhale, bring your torso back up. As you exhale, if you can, you're going to sit down on your heels. Right now, if this is too uncomfortable, come back to puppy pose where your hips were high and your forearms are on the ground. Make sure your head is supported. I'm showing you right now, if I back up, how I'm stacking one fist on top of the other to support my head. So this is option 2. One more inhale here, one more full exhale into your low back. And then use your arms to push yourself back up. I'm going to take my blanket and fold it over. So this might be a beach towel for you. Beach towels work good too. And I'm going to come to a seated position. All right, we're moving into a seated twist Marichyasana. And I will mirror you. You're going to straighten out your left leg. You're going to let that left leg be active. So right now I'm sitting up on the edge of the blanket. You might move some of the flesh out from underneath your buttocks. And my left leg is actively engaged and I'm pushing out through my left heel. I'm going to bring my right foot to the mat. So how close into the torso I bring it is not as important as keeping your hips level. If you bring your foot in and your hip starts to rise up, I'd rather you bring your foot back towards your, closer towards, away from your body, so your hips settle down, right? So really notice what your sit bones are doing here. Lift and lengthen up through the crown of your head. Stay active through that left leg. And as you exhale, navel, rib cage, collarbone, you're rotating to the right. Each inhale is a lift up. Each exhale, gently stay in the pose in your rotation. Try not to crank here with this hand that's on your right knee. And allow that right hand to come behind your body. And again, if it's comfortable for your neck, you're going to look out over your right shoulder. Deep inhale, deep exhale. Inhale, lift up through the crown of your head. Exhale, gently unwind. Come back to center. We'll switch to the other side. So this time my right leg is active, pushing out through that right heel. I'm going to lift up. Notice how much space and length I can create. And as I exhale, I'm going to gently rotate to the left. Twisting is one of the things that really helps to increase those bone building messages to our spine. But when we twist with bone loss, with osteoporosis, we want to really make sure we have length in our spine and we are not over cranking or efforting with our props. And in this case, your prop might be your knee. You want the rotation to be what is natural for your body. Take another full inhale, keeping your muscles engaged through your back. Keep that right leg active, right thighs moving down towards the floor. Lift through the crown of your head, and as you exhale, gently unwind, come back to center, and straighten out your leg and let your feet go from side to side. All right, we're going to bend both knees. Coming into Ardha Matsyendrasana, we will take our left ankle and bring it by our right hip. Notice right now what's happening. If your knee is way up in the air, you can always take a block or a book or a blanket or a bath towel and prop underneath like this. Okay? So if that's what you need today, think about those props. Inhale, lift up through the crown of your head. As you exhale, gently rotate to the right. Remember, we want that rotation to be mindful. So we want to keep length in our spine as we're rotating. We want the rotation to start from the bottom, from our navel, and work upward. Navel, rib cage, collarbones. I like to create an isometric here by pushing my right sit bone into the mat as I lift through the crown of my head while I stay in the twist. I can get a little bit more muscle engagement there. The sole of my right foot is flat on the floor. So notice if the sole of your right foot is flat on the floor. Take another full inhale. As you exhale, gently unwind and come back to center. Good. Pause here and we'll switch sides. So I should have mentioned on the other side, we'll bring our right ankle by our left hip. If this right here is too much, come back to straightening out your leg and do this version instead. Okay? All right, so I'm noticing what's happening in my hips. You want your hips to be level. You want your sit bones to feel fairly even on the mat or on the blanket. We'll pause here for a moment. Notice if you're sagging in your posture. If your upper back is rounding, see if you can lift up and create length. Take an inhale here, and as you exhale, gently rotate to the left. Navel, rib cage, collarbones. Let that left hand come behind you, relax down through your left shoulder. Stay lifted through the crown of your head, but not your chin. Try to keep your chin parallel with the floor. And keep breathing. Keep the muscle engagement. You might mentally affirm while you're here. Mentally repeat this to yourself. I radiate love and goodwill to soul friends everywhere. I radiate love and goodwill to soul friends everywhere. Take another breath as you inhale, lift up. And as you exhale, gently unwind. Come back to center. We really have a choice in our thoughts, and sometimes our thought process can take us into a downward cycle. Affirmations are a really nice way to lift your energy, lift your thoughts, create new neural positive pathways, And I love that affirmation for that particular pose. Right? Okay, we're coming down to our belly for Cobra Pose. Cobra Pose is a great pose for helping to strengthen the muscles in our upper back for our posture. And it can also be a challenging pose. So see today if you can stay with the challenge and not let it take you away in your thoughts. So coming down to your belly, you might stack one palm on top of the other, rest your forehead down. I'm not going to do that because I want you to be able to hear me. And then we're going to just find a little space through our low back before we start. Lift one leg at a time, lengthen it, set it back down. Good. The lower half of your body is engaged and rooted down and is what is helping to lift your upper body. So bring your hands underneath your shoulders. My elbows are touching my rib cage. They're like wings that are tucked in. They're not splaying out. Right? So try to keep your elbows in as tight as you can, affirming by touching your torso. Press down through your feet. Let your kneecaps gently rise off the mat. Push into the mat with your hips and pubic bone. Pull up through your navel and lift up through your head and chest. Look down at your mat so the back of your neck is long. Notice if you're putting too much weight in your hands, try to let your upper back lift you. So you might just very quickly lift your hands up off the mat to notice if it's those upper back muscles that are working instead of your arms. Keep breathing here, steady, but stay engaged through the muscles in your lower half, through your legs, through your feet, through your hips. Full inhale, full exhale. You got this. Stay for 2 more breaths if you can. And then we'll gently come down. Rest your head, turn one cheek to one side. Pause here, notice your breath, let your hips rock from side to side. And then turn your head in the other direction. And come back. We'll make our way down to our back. So we're just going to roll right over onto our back from there. And place your feet on the mat for a moment. Soften and flatten your shoulders out. And then bring one knee at a time in towards your chest. Apanasana. So this is one way to do child's pose. You're on your back. It's allowing your knees to come in towards your chest. It's a release through your low back, like child's pose is. But it's also keeping my back more in a neutral position than it would be if I had gone into child's pose. Take another inhale here, and another exhale. All right, we're going to drop one foot and then the other to the mat. We're going to bring our feet a little closer to our torso. Feet are hip distance. My knees are parallel and hip distance as well. We're moving into bridge pose. When we move up into bridge pose, you want your arms to be actively working just like your feet are. So when you are ready, you're going to take an inhale and lift your hips up. You could bend at your elbows here and press down into the mat with your upper arms. Let your fingers spread wide and keep your hands active. Notice here if you can release the grip in your buttocks. Can you push your feet gently forward, your shins and your knees forward, and relax through your buttocks and let your hamstrings do a little more of the work. Stay engaged in your upper arms, pushing down into the mat. Keep your gaze towards the ceiling. Keep your breath steady and smooth. If you have a feeling you're overarching your back right now, can you pull your pubic bone more towards your navel? And keep a nice long diagonal line from your shoulder to your knees. Stay for another 2 breaths. Notice, have you gone back to clenching through your buttocks? If you have, see if you can engage through your legs a little bit more. Soften your buttocks. 1 more breath. And exhale, come all the way down. Pause here. Relax your back. Let your arms come back down to the mat. Walk your feet a little wider and let your knees gently go to the left. Bring your knees back to center and let them go to the right. And knees back to center, over to the left, and then the right. Right, we're going to set ourselves up for Savasana. And today I'm going to demonstrate using a blanket under my head. Just sometimes a nice way to move into Savasana. Obviously, if you think you need more props, please feel free to grab them. You might want to be fully covered with a blanket. You might want to have or need another blanket underneath your head. Right? So we'll come down to our back into a comfortable resting position. Take a nice full inhale through your nose, and as you do, tense and squeeze your entire body. Let it vibrate. Exhale out your mouth and let go. 1 more time. This is letting go of any residual tension. Inhale, squeeze, tense. And exhale, release. Breathing in and out of your nose. Let go of all effort. Allow your body to come into its natural rhythm. For your breath. Let your body come into its natural rhythm for your heart. Let your arms, your torso, your legs settle down. Let your head be heavy. Soften the parts of your body that are touching the floor, your mat. Let them broaden and spread like water along the floor. Take a slightly deeper inhale in through your nose. Exhale out your mouth. Before you bring back movement, just take a moment to pause here. Notice the effects of your practice. Notice any sense of ease through your body. Notice any sense of calmness through your breath. And any sense of peace through your mind. And then wiggling fingers and toes. You might reach your arms up overhead. And then in your own way, bring your knees up in towards your chest. Roll to your side and pause. And then when you are ready, we will push up to a seated position. So just take a moment to soften your gaze or close your eyes if it's comfortable, and listen to these words of wisdom today from BKS Iyengar. The study of asana is not about mastering posture. It's about using posture to understand and transform yourself. So bring your hands to your heart center. Take a full inhale into your own heart, into your own light, into your own journey of transformation. It's been such a pleasure to lead you through your practice today. I'm so glad you joined our online community. Have a beautiful day. Namaste.